Alright, first thing you want to know is around the vehicle. Is there any low-hanging wires, any low-hanging tree limbs? Alright, underneath, looking for any foreign objects underneath my tractor. I see no foreign objects. I'm also looking for any belts or hoses, any fluid, leaking fluids, which could be coolant, could be washer fluid, could be power steering fluid, could be engine oil, and it could be condensation from my air conditioning, right? After I check, make sure that's all good. I start from the bottom, work my way to the top. Have my bumper, it's securely mounted. All the nuts and bolts are present. No excessive damage to it. License plate, securely mounted, present, and clean. My grill, securely mounted. It is not cracked or broken. No foreign objects obstructing any airflow to it. Alright? I'm going to go to my lights. My lenses are plastic, they're not cracked or broken, they're clean. Lights right here, amber in color. This is my turn signal, my 4-way flasher. It is good working condition, not cracked or broken. I have my high beams and low beams. They're clear or white in color. Securely mounted, clean, good working condition. Alright. Go to my mirror mounts, my hood mirrors. Not cracked or broken, securely mounted. The glass itself is clean, not cracked or broken, no illegal stickers, and properly adjusted to me. Right? Hood, no excessive damage to my hood. It opens and closes. Latches are securely mounted, they latch and unlatch. Go to my wiper blades, they're securely mounted, they're not cracked or broken. Proper attention to my windshield. Windshield is not cracked or broken, it is clean. No legal stickers except my safety inspection sticker. Then I have my ID lights. They're all amber in color, securely mounted, clean, not cracked or broken, good working condition. The outside represent my height, which is 13.6. Inside represent my width, which is at least 8 feet to 8.5 feet wide. Okay? Then we go up to the very top. That's my air dam. It's securely mounted. There's no excessive damage to it. Right? Then comes the time when I'm going to open up my hood now and go underneath the vehicle. Clear. First thing I'm going to talk about, unless I'm otherwise instructed or asked about something else, so I'm going to go to my fluids, all right? Right here is my coolant. My reservoir for my coolant is securely mounted, not cracked or broken, not leaking, properly capped. All my hoses are properly clamped. There's no abrasion, bulges, or cuts on the hoses, and they're not leaking any coolant. All right? Sufficient amount of coolant. My washer fluid is reservoir, securely mounted. It's not cracked or broken. Capped, not leaking. Has a sufficient amount of washer fluid. All right? My engine oil, it is capped. That's where my oil goes. It's not leaking any engine oil. My dipstick, this is what I use to check to make sure I have a sufficient amount. I take it out, wipe it off, reinsert it, pull it back out, make sure that I have a good amount of oil in there. Alright? Power steering reservoir is securely mounted. All its nuts and bolts are present. It's not cracked or broken. Properly capped. Hoses are properly clamped. No abrasion, bulges, or cuts. They're not leaking any power steering fluid, and it has a sufficient amount of power steering fluid. So that knocks out all of my fluids. And I'm going to go to my miscellaneous. Start with my air compressor, securely mounted. Hoses properly clamped. There's no abrasion, bulges, or cuts. Not leaking any air. I would note if it's belt driven or gear driven. I go to my water pump, securely mounted, hoses, no abrasion, bulges, cuts, not leaking anything. Again, no belt driven or gear driven. Radiator fan, not cracked or broken, nothing obstructing it. Then I'm gonna go to my other side, check, see what we got over here. Got my alternator over here, securely mounted, no exposed wires. All my belts, if it's not cut or frayed, soft pliable, no excessive free play. Anything that has a belt is not cut or frayed, soft pliable, no excessive free play. Okay, we're gonna go back to the other side. That knocks out all my miscellaneous stuff. I'm gonna go into my steering components, okay? Right here is my steering shaft. It's metal, so I know it's not cracked, broken, bent, excessively rusted. It has no excessive free play, okay? No more than 10 degrees. U-joints, not cracked, broken, bent, properly greased. Steering gearbox is securely mounted to my frame with nuts and bolts. All my nuts and bolts are present. No rust streaks or shiny spots indicating looseness. It's hose properly clamped, not leaking. No abrasion bolts or cuts. Pitman arm securely mounted. I see nut and bolt present. No rust streaks, shiny spots indicating looseness. The pitman arm itself not cracked, broken, bent, excessively rusted. Being held to my drag link by a castle nut and a cotter key. Okay. Drag link not cracked, broken, bent, excessively rusted. Again, another castle nut and cotter key that is present. Going to my steering ring knuckle, is not cracked, broken, bent, excessively rusted. Going further down, I got my steering arms. Right here. Not cracked, broken, bent, excessively rusted, being held in place by another castle nut and cotter key. And I got my tie rod. Tie rod, metal, not cracked, broken, bent, excessively rusted, securely mounted. Okay? And from there, we're going to go to our steering components. Alright? Our suspension system. I got my spring mount, securely mounted to the frame. It's not bent, cracked, and broken, excessively rusted. Being held by lug nuts, nuts and bolts. No rust streaks or shiny spots indicating looseness. Leaf springs, securely mounted, not cracked, broken, bent, excessively rusted, or missing. Being held onto my axle by U-bolts. The U-bolts aren't cracked, broken, bent, excessively rusted. On top you have a saddle which is present. At the bottom, holding it, you have an anchor plate and nuts and bolts which are present. No rust streaks, shiny spots indicating looseness. Lastly, finishing up suspension system on the front axle is a shock absorber. My shock absorber is securely mounted to the frame, nuts and bolts present, no rust streaks or shiny spots indicating looseness. Shock absorber itself not cracked, broken, bent, excessively rusted, or leaking any hydraulic fluid. Then I'm going to go to my brake system. Right at the front, single brake chambers. I can tell because it's smaller and has one hose. Securely mounted, not cracked, broken, bent, excessively rusted. The hoses are properly clamped, no abrasion, bulges, or cuts, and not leaking any air. And I have my push rod and slack adjuster. They're properly working. No more than 1 inch of free play when the brakes are released. Okay? On the inside, got my brake drums, not cracked, broken, bent, excessively rusted. Want no foreign objects such as oil or grease in there. Okay? Also inside, I have my brake pad or brake lining. No oil or grease in it, and no less than 1/4 inch of pad thickness. Okay? From there, we're gonna go to my tires. These are my steer tires. They need to be evenly worn, no mismatched sizes. Have to have a tread depth, a minimum of 4/30 seconds. Okay? These cannot be recapped, regrooved, or retreaded. I want no foreign objects inside of my tread. Must be properly inflated to manufacturer specifications between 90 and 110 psi. Sidewalls, no abrasion, bulges, or cuts. Proper seal between my tire and my rim. Rim itself is not cracked, broken, bent, excessively rusted, no illegal welds. My nuts and bolts, all present. No rust streaks or shiny spots indicating looseness. My axle seal or my hub oil seal, securely mounted, it's not leaking any oil, nuts and bolts are present, no rust streaks, shine spots indicating looseness. My cap is present, it's not leaking any oil around it. To check it, I'd pop it open, I'd visually check that I have oil in there, and I at least want to be 1 knuckle deep for oil. Lastly, I'll finish up on my valve stem. It's present, not cracked, broken, bent, missing, and it must be capped. Okay? And that finishes Form A.
Small.